At the KSMO Studios, it's time for us to sit down with our friends from the Salem Memorial Hospital. And Jodie from Dialysis has made her way in, and we are thankful that she's able to make it. Pinch hitting for Jason Edwards today. And Jason will like the baseball reference for that.
Yes, yes, he will.
He's a good guy.
He's
a good guy.
Very
good.
good.
Very good. So first off, glad to have you.
Thank you.
And dialysis.
Yes.
This is something that's pretty scary for a lot of people.
It
but,
is.
One of the neat things is Salem Hospital has a dialysis unit right here. And we were just talking beforehand how other hospitals, especially rural hospitals, have had to close their dialysis units.
Yes, that's right.
And that is pretty scary because you get big areas where people really can't visit if they're on dialysis because they're too far away. They go there for a day. The next day they're traveling to go get dialysis,
right?
Which is not an easy thing to go through.
No.
It really wears you out. And then come back, and then maybe one day, and then they go back just the next day.
Yes.
That's not much of a vacation, is it?
It is not. No, it definitely is not.
And one of the things we want to bring out is if you have family members that are on dialysis that you'd like to have visit, you can schedule appointments for them at the Salem Hospital, correct?
Yes. We take permanent and temporary patients. Our temporary patients have to go through a small evaluation process, but typically we can accommodate everybody that we've had so far that has wanted to come to us. So we try to keep that open to patients that want to come in the future.
Which is very critical because just thinking about, we were talking about Echo Bluff, Montauk State Park. If you have to go someplace 2-3 hours and then go get dialysis and then try and come back.
Yes.
Wow, you're pretty well wiped out that day, aren't you?
Definitely. There's a lot of travel programs that people are not aware about once they start dialysis. They think they're stuck where they are and they can't travel and don't have those options. We actually get some information every year on cruises that accept dialysis patients. So, there are definitely a lot of options for that.
And I think we're becoming more in tune to the needs of some people who have had their lives altered a bit. It's not their fault their kidneys shut down.
Definitely not.
And so to become people to be on dialysis, it is limiting.
Yes.
I say, but it's not the old way it used to be where you're just sedentary and just waiting to go get your next dialysis treatment. That's really all you're doing. But no, not today. You can still be somewhat active, right?
Right. Yes.
Which is very important because you don't want anybody just to kind of give up, which then will be the worst thing that they could do, right?
Yes, really it is. Their mental health is very important, so keeping as active and as normal of a lifestyle as they had before is very important to us, for sure.
So our dialysis unit, how many beds, tables do we have currently working right now? That we have going?
We currently have 6 chairs that we run, yes, and we do 2 shifts every day that we're open.
Those chairs are comfortable, actually. Pretty comfortable.
They're not horrible.
No, they're not.
No, they're not
the old
horrible.
ones they used to have were not very comfortable. I'm going back 25 years.
Yeah.
But they were kind of hard.
Yes.
And you got to now, let's say 6 chairs.
Yes, 6 chairs. Yes.
Okay. And basically, this is about a 4-hour treatment, isn't it?
Yes, it can be anywhere from 3 up to 5 max. The longest that we've had has been 4 hours and 15 minutes. Even if the prescription says 4 hours and 15 minutes, we can add a little extra time if we're having a patient that's having difficulty keeping fluid off. Of course, with their permission, we can do that, but we can run a little extra if necessary. And as long as we have the chair time available to do that, we're happy to do that for people.
That is key.
Yes.
And 6 chairs. And you start thinking about that, 4 hours, basically, an average.
Sure.
Okay, let's just say 4 hours.
Sure.
That's even, it's 24 hours right there one time that you have all 6 chairs filled. But, your shifts, how long are your shifts?
Right,
if you got a 12-hour shift, that's only three rotations a day. That's 18 people.
Right. So right now we're just doing the 2 rotations. We do the 2 shifts. So we have our staff comes in at 4 in the morning and we leave by 4:30 in the afternoon most of the time.
That's still a 12-hour shift.
It is. It's still 12 hours at a time. Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things you were telling me about is you keep your eye on possibly not only the current patients, obviously,
Yes.
you have to do that, but on possible future patients, because
Yes.
the tests that you see, you're able to take a look at those labs, and you're seeing that if somebody's on that downhill slope, that you're kind of already getting them ready for, you're in your mind getting
Yes.
ready for them to come to
Right.
dialysis.
Yes, and a lot of times I'll visit with the nephrologists that we have come to our visiting clinic. They come every third Tuesday of the month and they see patients. They come from St. Louis and do that. When we get these patients, I will review their labs before they actually have their visit with the nephrologist and point out who has low kidney function. And then if they're low enough after talking to the nephrologist, I go ahead and put them on our waiting list so we can keep an eye on them and make sure that they don't need to have immediate placement with us.
Since you've been here, have you had anybody had a transplant and get off of dialysis?
Yes, I have seen it 3 times since I have been here. It's
That
been
has
great.
to be enlightening.
It is. It's really exciting.
Do they
Yeah,
come
it's
in
very
and say hi
exciting.
afterwards?
They do. Most of the
Still
time, they
visit?
still
Yeah.
come back and visit and let us know how they're doing, and we love that.
Well,
We
that's
love seeing that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That has to be. I can't even imagine when somebody is able to get that transplant
Yeah.
in and it matches up to where
Yes.
they no longer have to come in there,
Yeah.
and they probably miss seeing you guys, but
Yeah.
they don't probably miss being on that chair.
Oh, no,
and
definitely
doing
not.
doing their 4 hours.
Yeah.
How important, obviously, tell us a little bit about what dialysis does.
Sure.
So people out there who don't really know what dialysis is and they think, oh, I mean, that's not that big a deal. Okay, first off, dialysis is when your kidneys are shutting down or have shut down.
Yes, yes. That's when you get to that critical point where we're practically replacing your kidney function with the machine. And that's why we do that 3 days a week for a certain amount of time per person. Ultimately, the treatment filters out toxins in their blood and pulls off fluid that their body is not able to get rid of through urination as they typically would. So that restores them back to optimal health as much as we can get them there within the constraints that we have.
But it is a process.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, I've been in there. God rest his soul, Dwayne McClellan, when he was here.
Yes.
I used to go visit Dwayne occasionally, and it was a process.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
to watch, I mean, basically you're sitting there. Not
Yes.
much you can really do.
No, there's not.
But if you know somebody that is on dialysis, it's great to visit. They
Yes.
would love to see people when they're visiting, because only so much you can read, so much TV
That's
you
right.
can even look at, and it's not the most enjoyable position to be in.
Right.
And if they have somebody that they can share some things or have a conversation with,
Yeah.
they love it.
Yeah.
They really look forward to that, don't they, when
Yes.
they can?
Yeah, when we have time, we visit with them quite a bit. And because we're such a small unit and have a really close patient to nurse ratio, we're able to have that more personal time with them than the bigger units do. So the people that come to us from those bigger facilities, they do appreciate that a lot, and they see a big difference with us.
Jodie, when you see, maybe people don't even realize what dialysis is until maybe a loved one or a friend actually gets stricken with this, and then they go in and visit, and then they
Yeah.
this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it is an eye-opening experience for
It is.
somebody who's never experienced this or seen it before.
It
isn't
is. Every time we admit a new patient, whether we take them from another facility and they have wished to transfer to us, or they're a completely new start patient, they're very overwhelmed with the process. So I really try to take time to visit with them. All 3 of us do, the nursing staff, because we want them to be as comfortable as possible and understand the disease process that they have and things they can do to overcome obstacles. So it is really overwhelming, but we try to calm that down for them.
There are some home filtration systems
Yes.
as well, but they're not the same as what you have to do, right?
Right. One of those modalities is what we call home hemo. It's typically just the same. The machine they have at home is smaller, but part of that process is they have to make sure they have enough room for all the supplies in their home. And that's something that's really hard for a lot of people, is to make sure they have that. And they also need to have a really good support system. The other modality for home treatment is what we call peritoneal dialysis, or PD for short.
Okay.
And that is a little bit different. That certainly can get the job done as well, but Either way, they do have two options if they're interested in pursuing that at home, and we refer them to the correct facilities and people to get them there to make it happen.
So when somebody is first diagnosed that they have to go on dialysis, as you're mentioning, the nursing staff, you guys do a great job. Number one, it's nobody really wants to go to dialysis.
That's right. Nobody does.
But I mean, once they're there, they're thankful for the staff you guys have. But when somebody first diagnosed, is it important to get the entire family involved, because it is an entire family that's being affected, isn't it?
Yes, we do try to get at least one or two support people involved. If they don't have family, we try to find a friend, anybody that we can get involved with them to help keep appointments straight, or to even calm their nerves about coming to treatment, get them transportation, things like that. We do try to get a support system in place for them if they don't already have one.
Yeah, it's just not an easy situation to be in, and and you always hope that they can find that replacement kidney and get them back up and living life the way they used to.
Yes.
You know, it's so key, and it really is, again, a blessing that our hospital has a dialysis unit.
It is, especially in such a rural setting. It's really hard to find those kind of accommodations for people that choose to live in the country like we do. So it's really a great facility that we have close to home for these guys. It's great.
Well, it really sums it all up in really some short terms, is that it's a needed service.
Yes.
Absolutely necessity.
Yes.
In somebody's life. You can't ignore it.
No.
And if you do, you're going to be in trouble.
That's right.
And then a lot of times too, when you see people come in there and they start to get acclimated to it, I mean, okay, it takes a while.
It does.
You know, but they get used to it, and they have to do it. And when people you see come in from out of town, when you do see visitors,
yes,
are they impressed with what they see in a little small rural hospital when they come into a dialysis unit that has 6 chairs, and they're like, "What are you guys doing here?" You know?
Yes. We've had some repeat customers as far as that goes. We have one patient that comes to us from Texas every year or two, and she visits with us. And every time after she has come to visit with us and have treatment with us, she'll call and tell us how great we've done for her. And we've had a few other people do that as well. So it's always really nice to hear that we're able to accommodate that, and they appreciate it.
You know, a lot of times, and it's unfortunate.
It is.
In a hospital, when you deal with patients not at their best,
right?
Obviously, you know, if they're stricken to where they have to come in dialysis, at least a lot of those people know they have to come. It's not a traumatic situation where somebody's in an accident or somebody's like that. But you know, it's hard. Don't get a lot of thank yous all the time. You know, you know, and it really. I always think people like yourself and their nursing staff and a lot of people at the hospital, they're very special people, because you're caring for individuals who aren't at their best.
Right.
Yet at the same time, you treat them just like it's just a great day. You know, I mean, you know, the smiles on the face, you're trying to brighten up their day. And really, you're becoming, I don't want to say an entertainer, but you become part of their life, that now you're almost becoming part of their family.
Yes, and we say that a lot.
Because you see them so often.
Yes, we do see these guys a lot more often than our own families sometimes, so it's hard to not be so attached to them. But we do try to treat them as well as possible, because we do want the best for them, and they really are a big part of our life, whether they realize that or not.
So how does your staff feel when somebody calls from Texas and say, "You guys are incredible"?
A lot of times they get really excited about it. I know for me, I get really excited about it, because I like to see other people's way of life and like the things that are different that we do for them. They'll always tell us, well, that unit doesn't do that. The one that I go to is not like this. They don't bring us drinks. They don't do, you know, all these small things that make a big difference to them. So it's really a good reinforcement for us.
Well, let's step one step back. Salem's a small hospital.
Yes.
Small hospital, you get better service than you do in a larger hospital.
Yes.
Simply because of the volume, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And here in our dialysis unit, you guys keep your eye on these people, and you're constantly. I remember when I was there, constantly, everything okay? You guys doing good?
Yep.
You know, is there anything we can get you? And you know, normally it's no, I'm good. You know, just then it's just that little conversation, just a little bit of attention that sometimes people need, and sometimes they fall asleep.
Yep.
You know, while they're getting their treatments too. And as we mentioned, it is exhausting.
Yes, it is. I've been told several times that getting a dialysis treatment is the equivalent of running a marathon. So sometimes they do get very tired at the end of their treatments. It's really typical for that to happen. So we do check on them a lot throughout their treatments just to make sure everything's okay. And if we notice something's wrong, we jump right on it, especially since there's so few patients to the nurse ratio. It's great for us and it's even better for them.
Well, you guys do a tremendous job.
Thank you.
I mean, it really is. It's a critical need. And we want to go back to Dr. Weaver and how important this was that he did this for his wife.
Yes, he did.
He got it started,
Yes.
But the hospital has continued to maintain and improve wherever possible.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes space becomes a problem.
It does.
Well, and you guys are in POB 1 in the basement.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
You guys, well, they've moved a few things around, so I'm still
Yes.
thinking you guys are down there. And it's, it's about as comfortable as you can make it.
Yes, right. Yeah, we do try to make it comfortable for them. We do provide a few things to make it easier for them to get through their treatment. We do have TV for every station. We give them blankets. We'll bring them a drink while they're there. Anything we can do to get them through that treatment and make it easier for them, we really do try to do that for them.
Like I said, it takes special people to do these jobs. And, I tip my cap to them. I am not a very patient person. All right. Well, I'm just not. I know you laugh. I know it's hard to believe.
It is hard to believe.
No, I am not. I've always been kind of one of those people. I'm impatiently patient. So I want it to happen yesterday.
I get that.
And get it done now. And if it's not done now, I'm impatient. I want to finish. But that's just me, and that has nothing reflecting on anything with people. But there's so many wonderful people we have working at the hospital that I have met and talked to, and they are just the most down-to-earth, patient people, willing to listen and hear somebody's concern, and then try and help them the best that they can. And dialysis unit, as I mentioned, you're getting people who have to go on a machine. They have to sit there. They have to do this. This is not optional.
Right.
And when they're there, you guys make the best of it with them.
And we do.
That's the key, that even though they may be having a bad day, you guys brighten up their day a bit. And I know that because I've seen it happen. So, for people who just don't understand, and hopefully none of you ever have to go on dialysis.
Hopefully not.
And that we were talking earlier that we were all but full, and then you had a patient who passed.
Yes.
And then one transferred away, so we're not back to full capacity yet.
That's right.
But as we mentioned, it's kind of a good evil. Good that we have the unit here.
Yes, absolutely.
But this is an evil situation for people because it is, disabling in a way that you just don't have the freedom that you'd like to have.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to thank God you have that unit right here.
Absolutely. Yes. It's really rare for a community this small to have that kind of a facility so close to them and available. So it's a great unit for us to have close to home for everybody.
Right. And we were talking about a friend of mine who has to come a pretty good distance because he was going to West Plains.
Yes.
And he's now at Salem.
Yes.
And great guy. And you got a chance to meet him and talk to him, and I'm sure he's got horror stories to tell about me. So we won't go into those.
I'll have to ask him.
You probably will. I bet you will. First thing, hey, buddy, can you tell me a couple inside stories?
I need something good.
Yeah. Well, you didn't know you were going to be on the radio. You probably would have asked him, I'm sure. Like I said, you kind of snuck in there and pinch hit today.
I did.
We do thank you and the staff down there and everybody that's associated in a dialysis unit, because it's the lab people. I mean, and then people do have to continue to get labs, and you still have to check things because you don't want a situation to get worse.
No, definitely not. We want to catch it early and nip it in the bud as soon as we can. We do not want it to linger on very long at all.
Well, Jodie, you guys do a fantastic job.
Thank
and I know
you.
I mentioned it before, but anybody who's never been down there to dialysis, it is a different world.
Yes, yes, and I would be happy to give anyone a tour if they were interested. I don't mind to answer any questions if anyone wants to call and talk to me about something.
What's your extension?
It is 7410.
729-6626, 7410.
Yes.
And you can and talk to Joe, just like I'm doing right
Yep.
now. You'd be blessed to do that. And again, we thank you and your staff and Salem Memorial Hospital for having that dialysis unit. You know, and you always hear things. They always have, you understand administration always has to review every department
Yes.
to see how they stand.
Yes.
And I don't think anything's ever going to happen to our dialysis unit. But, sometimes people hear, well, they're taking a look at it. It's not profitable enough. I said, well, okay. Not everything is a profit center.
Right, right.
Sometimes it's a service
That's
center.
right. Yes.
And people have to understand that just because they say it's not profitable,
Yeah.
and maybe someday it will be profitable. You never know. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have that many patients that are on dialysis and you have to go 6 days a week,
Yep.
that would be different. But then, here you think about staffing problem because
Yes.
you hear about all these problems finding nurses.
That's
and
right.
finding people to be able to work. So if you had the increase in patient load and you
Yes.
couldn't find the staff, you have another dilemma.
Yes. And we do have the two large corporations in Rolla close to us. So that's another obstacle we have in the market. But we're always looking at opportunities to expand our services and see what we can do for our people here at home.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
we always appreciate you guys very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, this interview brought to you by your friends at Inman Insurance, and we want to thank Keith and the entire staff over there for making it possible for us to make these interviews happen. And, of course, we do thank everybody at Salem Hospital for cooperating and coming in and doing these. Jason continues to set you guys up.
Yes, he
and,
does.
Really learn a lot. Hopefully people do take this advantage to
Yes.
listen to these interviews
Yes.
because you do learn a lot about your hospital that maybe you just didn't know.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people say that doesn't affect me.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
It
they
doesn't
do.
affect you today.
That's right.
It may affect you next year. It may affect you tomorrow. It may affect you soon. You
Yeah.
don't ever want to say it'll never happen to me.
Right.
Isn't that scary?
It is
That we
scary.
can't.
It's a very scary
We
thought.
just don't know what's going to happen day to day. But Jodie, thank you very much.
Thank
We
you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
And again, let's go ahead and give that number 729-6626, extension 7410.
Yes, you got it.
All right, very good. Thanks again for
Thank
coming in,
you.
spending some time with us. Civic Happy.